Hey, babies. Amanda and I saw the same movie
Oh
again.
my
Together with lovers and husband and wife, Dave Franco and Allison Brie. Now,
Do you know that the episode of Girls that we just covered is also called Together?
I realized that when I was making the cover and I about shook myself to death. Like, here's the thing, guys. Check out our Patreon. Today we just recorded an episode of Girls, but we do all kinds of stuff over there, and we do extra episodes every week. We do ad-free access to all of our stuff. We have uncut-ish. Anyway, I've been excited for this movie since I heard about it. Now, there is like a controversy kind of because another movie has come out saying that this idea was stolen from them. I believe that they've now come out and said though that this script was written previous to that other script ever being written too. So there's back and forth. Now let's just talk about the movie. Allison Brie and Dave Franco are in it together. What are your thoughts about them? Do you like them?
Okay, like I'm never usually really on board with like a husband and wife team.
Mm-hmm.
Not maybe because I'm a hater, I guess. But like I don't know, like they've always they were also in The Disaster Artist together. So I knew they were together in real life. They aren't as annoying behind the scenes so far, like out in public, as like a Dax Shepard, Kristen Bell type situation.
Oh God,
like Ashton Kutcher, or who's another like annoying couple, husband and wife.
I think they're not
like Lively,
but they're not. They're just doing their art and craft. Like, let's be. I mean, I'm not calling this like an art, but like they're out just doing their thing. They're not like publicity whores. They're not like trying to.
Doesn't seem like it.
No, not
and
really.
It does seem like they actually work well together, and like it might possibly be an example of a healthy Hollywood relationship where the people are actually friends with each other in real life. That's what I get because their chemistry is good in this, and I came out of this on the other end of this like really liking both of them as actors.
I really ultimately, like, not to bury the lead, I liked this movie a lot.
I thought it was great, and In and Out, by the way.
There are sometimes Dave Franco's acting verges on Allison Williams style acting a bit for me, where it's kind of dead behind the intention, but he's like yelling in a way almost. I think she was better than him.
I think I've always thought she was good. There's something about her I always felt like I should be annoyed by her for some reason, but she's great in everything. She's great in Community. She's great in Mad Men. Every time she pops up, she's always great. Isn't she one of the main voices in BoJack Horseman? She is. But for some reason, I was watching this and like halfway through the movie, I just thought to myself, this girl is a star.
She is a great actress. I think I always just looked at her because she always kind of played sometimes like mousier roles or like more subdued things. But I also was never super into Community. But here's what happens in this movie, y'all, is the very first. Now, spoiler alerts, I guess. If you don't want to hear any spoilers, then keep it pushing. Now, the first scene did kind of upset me because you see two dogs and they're out and they go to this butthole looking thing that's in a cave. Basically, it looks like a butthole.
Were you nervous when you saw the dog? Because I immediately was like,
I thought they were dying for sure. Well, they did.
Well, they do, but I said on Monday too that what happens is it's over really quickly, and it's so it's almost comical that it's not. It's so unrealistic that you can't really even feel like an emotional connection to these dogs.
I actually think that this was really well set up in every way.
Yeah.
Because this first scene with the dog shows what you're going to later see, in the movie. It sets up this idea that drinking from this water in this hole, this butthole looking thing, it looked like a butthole. Like, let's be real.
Did they drink the water? Is that what happens? I must have missed that. I just assumed that it was just that they were in this cave and it's just the aura.
No, the dogs drink the water. Okay. And then it's later find out that the dogs have like fused themselves together, because the idea then of this movie that we go into it is that we know that Dave Franco and Allison Brie are a couple. And from all the things, it's them being pulled together constantly. I mean, that's the marketing.
Yeah.
What lies deeper is that they are moving to this town and he is a music person. He's like big into music, right?
He's in a band.
His character was a piece of shit in this movie.
But
realistic.
Like totally realistic.
Very
and
much.
She says right in the beginning of the movie, well, I guess this isn't a spoiler. She proposes to him in front of everyone, and then he doesn't have a great reaction. And she says right at the beginning of the movie, if we don't split like maybe we're not meant to be together, we don't split now, then it's going to be way harder in the long run. So it really does become a very obvious allegory of a codependent relationship. Now, I have seen a lot of discord online of people arguing whether or not the ending is seen as positive or not positive, and that people who aren't single people see the ending as like, oh my God, I never want to be in a relationship again. And married people watch this and think, oh, that's sweet.
See, I would just look at the ending as neither. I would look at it more like, well, they accepted their fate. That would be the only thing. Like they realize that it's either this or be really deformed and messed up.
To me, that's depressing.
Oh, 1000% agree. But I actually, one of my biggest thing in any movie is if I'm like surprised. Okay. And I went into this just thinking, they're just going to be sucked together. Whatever. I genuinely was like, a couple times I was like, oh, wait, what? I should have realized that. We won't give away everything, but what ends up subsequently happening is they do have that where she proposes to him in front of all his band people. And he's like, he doesn't have a great reaction, but they ultimately end up moving together for her to go teach for a teaching position. And he's basically leaving his music behind and whatever, which, honey, I can give you an idea.
Don't ever. Franco.
If you're even Alison Brie in this situation and your boyfriend is leaving his music behind for you, don't do that. Don't get yourself into that situation because you're screwed later. And so they then end up going on a hike near their new home that they've built. And they fall into the cave. And then Dave Franco, who just seems to think he knows everything because he saw Man vs. Wild with Bear Grylls, he decides that, oh my God, I'm so thirsty after being out for this. Okay, this did annoy me because I have been hiking. They had a bottle of water, fine. They're gonna wait it out overnight. I think.
Is that all it was? Because then they get out, and I'm like, well, how did they get out?
They got out because the rain stopped. Because it stopped raining. So
they were just finding a place.
They were gonna wait it out until it stopped raining because they couldn't. But Dave Franco decides that he's like, oh, I'm so thirsty. Whatever. I'm gonna drink from the butthole in the ground. Yeah. So he drinks a bunch of the water, and then guess what, guys? The rest of the movie then is subsequent things that happen to them, trying to be pulled together. They can't be very far apart from each other. A very interesting storyline happens for me that I won't say, but I love the neighbor storyline.
Oh, see, I thought that could have been clipped right out. I don't think you even need that part.
Are you kidding? Okay, so what happens is this neighbor guy, she meets him at work, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, I'm your neighbor in your new house. I'm the yellow house on the corner." And my expectations, are that he's a creepy straight guy who's like wanting her. Because then they have this whole dinner where the three of them are together, and it's very.
That's the part where I went to the bathroom, and then I came back and I was like, "Did I miss anything?" And Justine goes, "Not really." I was like, "All right."
Oh, well, that really does make it seem it's laid on pretty thick that he's like horny for her.
Okay.
And you expect that, but then something ends up happening where you find out a piece of information and you're like, oh, wait, okay.
Actually, can we just, when you post this, can you just write spoilers right in the title? Because I really do want to just talk about it. Can we just talk about it?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, great. At the end. Oh,
okay. Sorry. But the neighbor, so then if we're going to spoil the neighbor, what ends up happening is that neighbor guy is gay, guys. He's gay.
Right.
And later into the movie, what you find out is that this man is a fused version of two men who were together. The reason he is fused together as this one new person is because this cult found this butthole watering thing and found that if you drank it, it would fuse you together. And so he was they were two members of this cult, and they're trying to get more people basically they're trying to convince people and get people to also do that in like a subversive way, kind of, right?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So then
What else?
about at the end? So in that same vein, then why, when later Franco goes back to the butthole and he sees the people that have been, there's a couple that's been missing the whole movie that he's kind of become obsessed with. He sees them and they're like halfway fused together. They're like a creature. So what happened that me and Justine thought maybe that they were fighting it. So that's why they were all fucked up. That part was pretty horrifying, I must say.
So throughout the movie, they've teased. Now, if you're at all a person who's watched movies ever or read stories, you know where this is going. But there's been a couple that's missing in that direct area since before they moved in. Dave Franco ends up being down in the cave, and the couple ends up coming out of this like thing fused together, but they have a knife in their neck. And I think that was what happened, is because they tried to kill themselves or something.
Oh my God, that's horrifying.
Well, it didn't take, because at the very end, Dave Franco and Alison Brie basically realize that like, hey, we can't fight this. So they take off all their clothes. They play Two Become One by the Spice Girls, which I'm sorry, made me live. That was great. That was a smart setup too, because they set up at the beginning of the movie that was her favorite band, which could be treated as a way of like a music snob being like, oh, the Spice Girls. And then later when they're like, I know what to do, and they put it on, I was like, oh bitch, they're going to play Two Become One, because I was hard into the Spice Girls and I knew what was coming. And when they played it, I was like,
Spice Girls is a really good getting ready to go out album, because you're just like,
it is
or
a
like
good,
in a green room.
If you're having a party, Spice Girls mix on like
everyone knows the words enough to kind of rock out. Now, here's a question.
So wait, they take off their clothes, they play Two Become One, and then they basically are like, let's just let it happen. And so I think that's why ultimately, guys, ultimate spoiler here, the very last moment is the parents of Dave Franco coming to visit them.
Her parents, maybe, yeah.
One of their parents were coming to visit because they were going to have lunch, and they teased this throughout the thing. They knock on the door and open the door, and it's like a fusion of Dave Franco and Alison Brie.
Yeah, it's the whole audience burst out laughing. This was the question I was just about to ask.
Really?
It's a perfect segue. I thought this movie was funny. Like, did you laugh? Were there people laughing in your theater? Because everyone in my theater was really enjoying. Justine and this guy behind us was like having like their own little laugh fest back and forth.
I laughed. There weren't a ton of people when I saw it.
Me neither. There's like maybe 4 different groups plus like the single guy back here. But he dropped his phone halfway through the movie, and then everyone was just watching him wrestle around in the. He couldn't recover. It took him a while.
There were moments in it though where I did laugh out loud, and I know that it's not the same movie, but it gave me the way it was set up reminded me of The Substance, kind of.
Oh, okay, that's what Stan said too.
It built on itself to a point of like where it got to the end, it wasn't creepy. Like I think about the very end of The Substance with the, what is it called? Like Monstro, whatever. And you're not like, no one's like, oh, bleh. Like, and when you're watching Dave Franco and Alison Brie like come together, you're like, this is absurd. You know, it's past that point.
Word for it. It's so absurd that it's not. I don't think any of it is scary. It's funny, and like when the part, especially when they were having sex, and he like, because there's kind of a penis shot, but it's like it's so funny because he's like stuck and he's like pulling, and you can like, it's played for comedy, I think. And then the other part that I guffawed is at a certain point, their arms get fused together, and then she has to like whip out this like chainsaw and like, and she's like, all right, here we go, and they're both just screaming, and you don't see anything, but then it's just a smash cut to both of them sitting opposite ends of the kitchen, and they're both just like eating, like she's eating a quesadilla, he's eating like chips, and they're just like in a fugue state, just like eating, and then they're like offering each other their food, and they're like, And it was actually a good representation of kind of a fight, a big blowout fight you have with someone, and then it's over, and you're like, "Whew, that was fucking crazy."
I think that's probably also why I really would give this movie like 4.5 Cosmos, maybe, babe, because
I would too.
here's how I love when a horror movie this premise could easily have been circled around to the idea of like, now guys, I have depression and anxiety, just saying, but they could have easily had these people's focus be like, this couple, they both have depression and their need to be together is that based on that, and it really probably would have led to a more a more downer-ish movie. No offense to the depression community. Again, I'm part of you. But because of the way they angled it, it was like actually enjoyable to watch. And I didn't think that, did you think, so I think some people were worried, and I've seen some comments of being like, what's the body horror like? Like, is it too gross?
No, I think it's so silly. Like, honestly, if you just look at the poster, if that's as scary as it gets.
That's about, yeah.
Creature.
It's like their bodies fusing together. Yeah.
So it's kind of like you kind of feel like ugh when you're watching, but it's not. You don't have to look away from it.
Actually, the body horror between the two of them was never really bad. The only time it was gross was that couple that was like the mouth misfused, whatever. That was gross. I didn't love that. But
I loved it, and it was an hour and 40 minutes, and there were no previews for it. Ours was supposed to start at 1:20, the movie, and like that guy that was best friends with Justine came down, and he's like, do you guys know when the movie's going to start actually? And Justine's like, oh, it's probably like half an hour, so it probably starts around 2. And then the movie started, and I'm like, where are the previews? And then we looked down, it was 1:20. So they just didn't play previews for this. Did you get previews?
Mine had previews.
Oh, well, anyway, you were in and out of the theater. I was out of the theater by 3 p.m.
I loved that. And I feel like they did it I think this was really well done. And guys, if you want to hear more of our movie takes, keep with us. It's
next week. We're going to see Weapons. And you know what? We're coming right into spooky season. So it'll be a lot of nice, fun horror movies, little romps.
Great. We love you guys.
Love you guys.
It's so weird. Bye.